What's going on, guys? It's Tony from Lone Wolf, and today we are talking why paintball is bigger than ever.
And why? Because who's the best source for paintball?
It is lonewolfpaintball.com.
We said paintball a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of paintballs going on there. Should I redo that, Mark?
No, I like paintball.
Okay,
that's why we're
me
here.
Too. I love paintball. So you had a user. Do you have the username? It was like MNF.
Yeah.
Somebody said something about, is paintball bigger than ever? Or the resurgence?
MNFS asks us, what does the future of paintball looks like? Which, okay, speculative, but is there any way paintball can surpass the glory days? I think we have.
So, okay, I like that statement, Mark. So surpassing the glory days. Obviously, I'm holding old school, super old school magazines here. I mean, this one, normally these bad boys have dates on them. This one is from March of 2005. I got a bunch of older ones in the archive. I just brought out a few. Paintball 2 Extreme, Paintball Magazine, Paintball Media. It's one of the newer ones, Living Legends cover, I believe. More some of the old school stuff. You got your PSP, Vegas. Oh, shout out to LB Fowl. LB Fowl there on the back cover.
There he is.
Good guy. He's a Michigan boy. This one's from July 2006. So I just brought a couple out of the collection. Anyways, back to the get-go here. Is paintball bigger than ever? I think it's definitely on the up and coming, surpassing the glory days.
Well, let's start with what do you consider the glory days of paintball? What were the glory days?
I think a lot of people are considering the early 2000s as the glory days. Tournament paintball was thriving. There was events out on beaches in California, like NPPLs, stuff like that. Like early 2000s, it was huge. A lot of players that played on bigger teams weren't having to pay for much. Sponsors took care of a lot of the costs, especially paint costs, free equipment, free gear, some of the travel. The list goes on, but yeah, that doesn't really happen anymore. The industry has fully changed, but now there's a lot more tournaments. 10-man is coming back. You've got, I mean, we're talking NXLs, ICPLs with guns. You're talking mech guns. You've got your autocockers. You've got people rocking out there. You got EMEX, you got M170s, you've got the whole plethora of mechanical guns in that whole scene. And then you've got events like MSXL, you've got your local events, you've got MAXL, USB XL, WC, PPL, all the P's and P's and P's and B's of paintball. You've got a lot of places across the country and even the world that have fields now and tournaments that you guys can play. So I think paintball has come back in a big way. One thing that I will mention too, also NXL, you know, part of the ICPL, the 10-man classic stuff. You've got Pittsburgh Classic as well. That was super, super big. So I think it's huge right now. To be completely honest, I think it's huge. I think it's definitely on the up and coming. Back kind of like to the NXL, they got the MLPB, Major League Paintball, kind of one giant umbrella under all of this. So they're offering even now players insurance. So you're paying a fee. I think it's, don't quote me, I think it's around $60 for like the year for a player ID, or could be per event. I'm not quite sure, but players insurance. You get hurt on the field at all, they fully cover all of your insurance if you get hurt while playing a paintball event. Really cool. Shout out to Tom Cole out there. That's a very nice feature that they're offering. So no, is paintball on ESPN2 like it was for a little bit? I don't think so. But I think with overall the 10-man events, you got 5-man events all across your regionals in the country. I mean, it's big. You got youth divisions out there too, which is great because introducing the sport to the young kids, getting them to kind of get hooked on the sport throughout their growing up adult life. I mean, it's big. I think it's grown tremendously. Let alone, we're talking social media now. These paintball magazines that I have. I think paintball.media has digital magazines now. No one's sitting around reading a magazine or a newspaper anymore. Everyone's on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever it may be. So I think that with the help of social media these days, paintball's grown tremendously. You're talking Instagram Reels, Facebook, I mean, all of that good stuff. So Mark, what would you think? Has paintball, you know what I mean? Social media is huge. Everyone is always staring at their phone.
There's no lack of paintball content out there, right?
100%.
You argue that the glory days had 15 magazines that came out once a month and you had to wait till the next one next month. I can go on at any time and watch anything from professional media to amateur of pretty much any event, behind the scenes, above and below, and stands, and and interviews,
All
and
of it.
there's no lacking in that. The one thing that I always use as a judgment for whether or not something's succeeding or not is the marketplace. How is the product selling? Is there new innovations in the products that are coming out? Is there new businesses joining and getting into it? So like we've got more options for paintball manufacturers, from guns to masks to barrels, than I think we ever have in the history of paintball.
Would agree.
We've got the old companies are still prominent, and we've got all these new guys like the Carbons and the Mac Devs and companies that come and go. And one of the other key features I always say, don't go buy them, but the Chinese knock off masks. China doesn't knock you off unless there's a market for it,
100%,
which means there's
right.
enough stuff coming out of their factory legitimately that they went, we need to try and undercut that market.
100%. So I think it's grown. Obviously, even during the COVID time, the sport just exploded. So I think it's, like I said, it's not on TV anymore like it was. And I don't even think it was on there very long. But in general, you can go on, obviously, hey, our YouTube, any Instagram reels, all these photographers, shout out to all the great photographers and everybody out there that's putting out paintball content. It's grown hugely, and there's a lot of big influencers out there that shoot paintball stuff. So I think it's big. I think it's not going to slow down anytime soon. I mean, we're talking glory days. I think it's been brought back. I've seen a lot of pros that retired years ago. Now all of these guys from old school Dynasty and all sorts of teams are playing these mechanical 10-man tournaments. So
and you can
I
go
think it's
play
big.
with them.
Yeah,
Name
100%.
another sport
Right.
that you can go right now to a local event, pay an entry fee, and compete with a former or current professional in the sport right
100%,
now.
and a lot of these guys could be your idols. I looked up to, Greenspan or Frazier or whoever it may be back in the day, and now you could literally show up and just you can play paintball with them, which is really, really cool. I
And
think
the old timers, the
yeah,
guys that
all
are
of
in
the
their
guys.
70s that
Yeah.
have been playing their entire
We're talking
life.
Bud Orr, he's out
Yeah.
there playing still. So shout out to the guy asking the question. We figured we'd shoot a quick little video on it on, is it making a comeback? Is it huge, bigger than ever? I think it's there for sure, with all the strides and all these great leagues popping up all across the country and even the world. So my answer is yes. I think paintball is huge. I think it is bigger than ever. And as always, if you guys want to buy the best paintball gear, it's longwolfpaintball.com.
See ya.